Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to today's video. Hi, my name's Kara. If you're new here, hi, welcome. Are you ready to talk about my January TBR? Because I am. I am just in the mood for a little cozy TBR video, okay? I thought about doing a reset video for January, but like, I don't want to do anything else except talk about my TBR, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. Now, is this January TBR a week late? Yes, it absolutely is. But you know what I'm saying? It's better late than never. And I must tell you, this is an absolutely delusional TBR to have, okay? I think I probably have like 8 books on my TBR, and we're already 1 week into the month, and I typically only read like 2 to 3 books a month. So, is she a little delulu today? Yes. Absolutely, but I don't know. I don't really have any plans in January, so you never know. You never know what could happen. Let's just get into the video. Let's get into the TBR. Let's do it. Oh, my hair is still in the way. Okay, we changed it to a little bit of a different bun situation because the other one was just not working out. The first book that I have to talk to you about today is The Night Circus. I am currently reading this book. Now, let me talk to you. I tried in December, I tried to do a themed reading vlog of a winter reading vlog kind of theme. And we're 4 weeks into it and we're still going strong. I have read 2 other books for that vlog, and this is the third one that I am reading right now. I am currently about 200 pages into it. I'm really, truly enjoying this, except what happened was I was reading all these winter books and then I got out of the winter reading mood, and now I'm halfway through this vlog and I'm just trying to push through to the end. Trying to finish this book so I can actually upload that vlog. The Night Circus is a very popular booktube book. This book has circulated everywhere around book internet since the conception of booktube. It's about 2 dueling magicians, and it's set in like the 1800s in London, kind of like a little bit upper class London, and I don't know, it's just a really cool setting, very beautiful writing, and just a very beautiful atmosphere. It's very lyrical, but it's about this night circus that kind of just like spontaneously comes up in random places throughout Europe, and it's about the inner goings of that circus and the 2 dueling magicians and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's a very unique concept and I'm really enjoying it so far. I was told to read this book sitting under the Christmas tree and while it's snowing outside, and I must tell you that is the vibe to read this book in, okay? It's very good. I am enjoying it quite a bit, and I don't know if I'm giving it 5-star feels yet. I think it has 5-star potential, but I'm definitely feeling a high 4-star. So I'm really loving this and hoping to finish that reading vlog soon so you can see it. That's book number 1. I will be finishing this month for sure. Also, wait, audiobook for this? Fire. Okay. The guy who narrates the Harry Potter audiobooks for the US, I think his name is Jim Dale, is the narrator for this. And like, it is so good. Also, I can't hear his voice without thinking about Harry Potter. So it's like hard to flip the switch, you know? But it's a very great audiobook too if you're interested in the audiobook. Also, it's on Spotify Premium if you have Spotify Premium. So just all the insider info here. Next book I'm hoping to get to in January is Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. Ali Abdaal is one of my favorite productivity gurus, productivity YouTubers. I don't really know, like that kind of category, productivity bros. On YouTube, and I've watched his content for a few years now, and he just put out this book at end of December. I started reading it. I'm probably like 70 pages in, and I have been enjoying it so far. I'm not finding any super new major insights other than like things that he hasn't already talked about on his channel or other like productivity books I've read before, but I feel like he is having a fresh perspective in the sense that it's really centered around like feeling good when you're doing productivity or like being productive rather than like nose to the grindstone, just get it done, grind yourself to death, and then you're gonna feel great and achieve all your goals. Like he's really more centering around doing things that make you feel good and make you feel productive rather than just like negative productivity, I guess. The font is huge in this book, I must say. It's been making for a pretty good reading experience because I feel like I'm reading the book quite quickly. I also do like to start my year off with some type of productivity, self-help, habit building, goal setting type of book just to like really kickstart the new year. And I've been enjoying this one being my productivity book for the year. So would recommend. I still think Atomic Habits is like my all-time favorite nonfiction self-help kind of genre book of all time, but I am enjoying this as well. So go Ali Abdaal for writing a book. That's a really difficult thing to do, and I'm supporting it. I support it. Next book I am currently reading and will be finishing this month. This is my top priority book for this month is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I am about 40% into this. Also listening to this on audio as well. The reason this is top priority is because Flame and Shadow comes out December 31st, and I took off work to read Flame and Shadow on February 1st, January 31st, or whatever it is. I want to be in the booktube world experiencing the hype of Flame and Shadow as it is coming out into the world. So that means I have to finish this book first in order to experience House of Flame and Shadow. Now, I am loving this, okay? I think this is my favorite Sarah J. Maas series ever written. Don't get me wrong, love Throne of Glass, Court of Thorns and Roses. It's okay. I don't even know how to explain it, but it just like the fact that there's so many different types of humanoid characters in here. Like there's mermaids and there's angels and archangels and demons and fawns, and like it feels like Halloween Town, but like new adult and hot. Like that's the vibe I get, and I just love it. Also, there are some spicy scenes in here, and I am like jaw dropping to the floor. Oh my gosh. There's been a few times where I've gotten a little heated. It's gotten a little heated in this book, and I kind of love it. I originally thought this book was going to be more about Rune, and I'm kind of waiting for that to happen. Like I said, I'm like 35-40% into it. Book right now feels like very much a continuation of the first book, which is great, but like I thought we were going to focus on a different character, and that hasn't quite gotten there yet. Still really liking it though, and I kind of think I'm going to give this a 5 stars. I really enjoy this. Audiobook is great too. Basically, House of Sky and Breath, Crescent City in general, is like this adult fantasy series, and it's not new adult, but it like feels like post-college adult, you know what I mean? Where it's like young 20s adult fiction, where you're following kind of this cast of characters. It's like an angel demon kind of fantasy, and a lot of the people you're following are like either angels or fallen angels or archangels and stuff like that, and they're like fighting the demons and stuff. But it's very intricate. It's a really cool world, and it's an urban fantasy, so they have like cell phones and jobs and like all that kind of stuff. It's just a fun read. I feel like this is a great time, and also a very interesting time because they have really great plot lines in here too. Like there's kind of a mystery element going on with the plot line. Absolutely loving it. Would recommend. Going to finish it this month. Okay, so the next book I'm reading, I want to give a little preface to. This is a very vulnerable thing I'm about to talk about, and I don't even know if I'm going to upload this in the video, but like I'm just going to talk about it anyways in case I decide to. I am reading one other book right now, and this book is it's going to be a very vulnerable topic to some people. It is going to be about drinking. Okay, I am doing dry January, and I feel like that's a very common thing going on right now. Like it's a lot more socially accepted to, I don't know, not drink. And I don't know, this is a very vulnerable subject, but how do I even talk about this? I'm the type of person who will have like a drink or two on the weekends, or when I'm out with friends, I'll have a few drinks and stuff like that. I feel like alcohol can sometimes be like a touchy subject on the internet. I don't know why, but it is, and it shouldn't be because I don't know, it's something that's very ingrained into our society. But I'm going to talk about this anyways because I feel like sometimes people can relate to vulnerability. Even just if this can relate to one other person, it would be worth talking about. So I'm actually reading this book right now called Quit Like a Woman by Holly Whitaker. Holly Whitaker, she had a problem with alcohol, and it permeated her life and became very destructive to her. She realized she needed to quit. And so she went through a lot of the typical avenues of learning how to quit alcohol. And she realized that like those avenues, like Alcoholics Anonymous, all that kind of stuff, were just not avenues that she felt like were good for her. And she kind of talks about a different way of, you know, a more self-accepting way of how to start a sobriety journey. I don't really know where I'm at in this whole thing, but I've questioned my relationship with alcohol for a very long time at this point. And again, I'm not the type of person to like get drunk every weekend, like all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'll have like a drink or two on the weekends, but it never actually makes me feel very good. I always get really anxious afterwards. I feel like alcohol takes more than it gives sometimes, and I just am reevaluating my relationship with it. So I decided to try out dry January for this year, and I've done dry January before, but I've never really paid attention to how not drinking actually affects my body. So I'm really trying to be intentional about it this year, about how I'm actually feeling like day by day as I start a journey of either cutting back or sobriety. I'm not really sure again on where I sit in the whole thing, but I don't know. I'm just kind of trying something out, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more about alcohol in general, how it affects the body, how it affects the brain. And let me tell you, learned a lot, okay? Learned a lot. There is this fantastic podcast episode by Huberman Lab. If it's like a health and wellness neuroscience podcast, he goes very in depth into how alcohol actually affects your body and the long-term effects from it and stuff. And I just feel like there's a lot of things that we are being marketed to in the big alcohol industry, and they're not really saying a whole lot to us about how it actually affects your body and how dangerous it can actually be. So I don't know. I'm just kind of exploring this right now, and I'm reading Quit Like a Woman right now. I'm about halfway into it. I'm really liking it because it's very much more female-centered and female-centric. It's helping me kind of reevaluate my relationship with alcohol and how I want to change it going forward and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm curious right now, and I feel like this book is really helping me understand this a lot better from a female-centered perspective and just a more holistic perspective rather than you're the problem, you have a problem, like a very pointed, making people feel shameful for their relationship with alcohol, all that kind of stuff. So if anyone's interested in learning more about sobriety or the relationship that our society has put us in with alcohol and all that kind of stuff, I'd recommend this book. I'm about halfway through it, really enjoying it. Definitely going to be finishing it this month. Who knows if I'm going to put this in the video, but I don't know. I'm just talking about it just to be vulnerable. Okay, so moving on to the books that I actually do want to read this month that I haven't started yet. The first one is one of my TBR Tinder picks this month, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I picked this for my TBR Tinder of the Goodreads top books of 2023, and Lightbringer, which is like the sixth one this series, was picked. And so I'm going to be starting Red Rising this month, which is the first book in that series. Red Rising is a sci-fi book. I am like real into sci-fi fantasy right now. I don't know. I'm just in this kind of era. I just love a good sci-fi fantasy or fantasy in the wintertime. It's a sci-fi book set on Mars, I believe. And there's this population of people who is very, I think they're called the Reds, and they are very suppressed by their government. And it's basically about the Reds rising up against their government, but it's like set in space. And I think that's my favorite thing about it, is that it's set in space. I have heard this book is addictive. You can't put it down. It's unbelievable. It's a little bit gory. And I've just heard that people love this series. My husband Reed absolutely loves it, devoured the series when it came out, and his best book of last year was Lightbringer, which was the one that just got released from last year. But really looking forward to reading this, hoping to get to it this month, and it's on my TBR Tinder, so gonna prioritize it. Now, going off a little bit of the sci-fi vibes for this next one, and I'm so excited to talk to you about this because I have never heard about this book being talked on BookTube, and maybe that's just the circle that I'm in and the people that I watch. But Reed, my husband, read this book last month, and he said it's one of the best books he's ever read, and I am so interested, okay? It's a well-known book in the sci-fi world, and that is Hyperion by Dan Simmons. I don't think I can actually explain to you what this is about, but all I know is like Reed was like, I can't put this down. I can't stop reading it. It's so good. I'm going to do my best to explain what this book is about. So this book, originally written in 1980s or something, like 1987 or something like that, it won the Hugo Award, so you know it's legit. This author was a teacher, and he would write short stories and stuff like that. And he basically put all of his short stories into this book and like combined all of them into making this book, which is so cool. This book is about, there's a planet called Hyperion, and on Hyperion, there is this creature called the Shrike. And I think this is kind of like a godly type creature, and people worship this creature called the Shrike, and they make pilgrimages to go to this thing and like worship it or like try and get answers for their lives. So the whole point of this book is that it tracks 7 different people's lives on their pilgrimage to the Shrike. You're just on a journey with some of these people, but it's like a very heavy sci-fi book. It's set in space, and it just seems so interesting. That's all I can tell you about it. It won a prize. Reed was obsessed with it, and he could not stop reading it and raving about it. And ever since he started reading, I was like, just finish the book. I want to start reading it. I am super excited to read this. It's a mass market paperback, one of my favorite ways to read books. And I don't know, if you haven't heard about it yet, hear about it now. And I'm excited to tell you about it if I end up getting to it. I feel like this is a book that's very outside of my comfort zone too. Well, it's not super outside of my comfort zone, but it's like a little bit more outside of my comfort zone. and I'm really interested in reading it, so cannot wait for this one. Okay, next two books I have, these are hopefuls for the month. Those all that I've just talked about right now are definite, like, I want to read these. These are top priority. These next two books I'm going to read are high priority, but not as high priority as the other ones. The first one I'm going to be talking about is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I know I've talked about this like 1,000,000,002 times since I've read Fourth Wing. This is the second book in the Empyrean series. I need to read this ASAP because I'm in a book club. I started a book club with some of my friends and family, and everyone in this book club has read it and they need to talk to me about it. So I know I need to read this because I loved Fourth Wing so much. The reason I haven't picked it up right away is because I've heard it's not as good as the first one, which kind of makes me a little bit sad, but whatever, it's fine. This is a book about Violet. She was originally destined to be a scribe in this like school or something, and then her mom's like, nope, you're going to become a dragon rider, and she has never even wanted to be a dragon rider, but she gets thrown into this school and she literally has to survive this school. So it's a school setting, it's a magical setting, and there's dragons, and there's a really lovely romance going on in here too, which was my favorite part of the first book. I loved the first book. I gave it like 4.5 stars. It's not very well written. It's not like the most deep philosophical book, like beautiful lyrical book ever, but it's a fun time, okay? And I enjoy having a fun time while I'm reading. So this is definitely on the TBR for the next month. Really hoping I can get to it so I can just finally say I've read it. And the last book on my TBR for this month is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This would be a reread, but this is an extremely, extremely special reread because one of my closest friends here on BookTube, Hannah from Hannah's Recent Reads, she annotated this entire copy for me for my Christmas gift, and it's just so special, and I need to reread it to see all of her annotations and to just like experience the joy and sadness of reading this book again. This book is one of my favorite books of all time. I love it. It just, I could cry just thinking about it. And then I would watch the show and just cry even more, okay? This is like a contemporary fiction novel, literary fiction novel about Tonnell and Marianne. They are high school students who initially are in the same grade. Marianne's not that popular. Connell's a very popular guy on the rugby team. And they kind of form a romance in high school, and you're just kind of like watching them throughout the course of their lives as they come into the relationship, out of the relationship, form friendships. Like it's a story about their lives and the invisible string that continues to connect them throughout their lives. It's such a beautiful book. I cry every time I read it. It's absolutely stunning. Sally Rooney, please put out another book ASAP because your books send my soul to the moon, okay? Really hoping to get to it this month again, and I just feel like this is gonna be a comfort read I need, you know? All right, so here we got all the books on my January TBR. Now, already being 3 weeks into the month, there's absolutely zero way I'm going to be able to get to all of these, but I'm just like hoping and praying, you know? We're living on a prayer out here. If I could, that would be amazing, but like, I don't know. I feel like my TBRs at this point are just like hopefuls, want to read. These are the books I'm interested in right now because I'm such a mood reader. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've made it this far in the video, leave a coffee emoji because we love coffee and it's literally 5 o'clock and I shouldn't be drinking this right now, but whatever. I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you are. We'll see you in my next video. Peace out. Bye.